They say buying your first home is supposed to be the happiest time of your life. For Claire Jensen, it was more than that. It was freedom, escape, a fresh start. After years of renting, saving, and surviving a toxic breakup, the little two-bedroom cottage on the edge of Merivale seemed like a dream. Old, yes, but charming, with ivy crawling up the bricks and a gate that squeaked when it opened like it was saying hello. She signed the papers with a smile. No family, no friends nearby. Just her cat Miso, and the quiet country town. That first night, she drank wine on the porch and listened to crickets in the tall grass. She slept deeply, peacefully. But the peace didn't last. It started with small things. Whispers in the hallway, flickers of movement at the edge of her vision. Miso staring at corners for hours. She told herself it was stress, adjustment, her imagination. But then the lights began to flicker when she walked past. The pipes moaned in the walls like someone was crying behind them. At night, she heard footsteps above her bedroom, but there was no attic, just roof. By the second week, she found a single handprint on her bathroom mirror, larger than hers, smudged and dark. She scrubbed it away. The next day, it was back, and the day after that, always the same shape, same size, always cold to the touch. She called a contractor to check the wiring, the pipes, the structure. He didn't stay long. Said the place had bad air, wouldn't go into the back room, told her she should get out. When she laughed nervously, he didn't laugh back. He said something lived there before her, something old, something angry. Claire stopped sleeping. Doors slammed at night. Her name echoed through the hallway. Once, she woke to find Miso growling at the ceiling fur, bristled, eyes wide, and something was dripping through the floorboards above. A thick, black fluid. It stained the wood. It never dried. She tried to leave, packed a bag, got in her car, but the engine wouldn't start. The battery had been ripped out. Not removed, ripped. Torn wires hanging like vines. The next night, she dreamed of the house swallowing her whole. The walls peeled back like flesh. A mouth opened in the hallway and called her name with her mother's voice. The voice laughed when she cried. The mouth smiled when she screamed. She began to see things in mirrors. Not her reflection, not anymore, but someone else. A woman with her face but bruised, pale, hollow-eyed, mouth moving, but never speaking. Sometimes Claire would catch herself staring into mirrors for minutes, not remembering why she walked into the room. Once she found herself in the backyard in the rain, barefoot, bleeding, holding a garden spade she didn't own. On the 15th night, she found every cupboard open, every drawer emptied, all the furniture pushed to the center of the room. Miso was in the sink, soaked and shaking, staring at the ceiling. Claire boarded up the windows, nailed shut every door. She stayed in the living room with the lights on and a knife in her hand. But still, the shadows moved. They crept under the cracks. They danced behind her eyes when she blinked. Whispers became voices. Voices became screams. The floorboards groaned under weight that wasn't hers. At 3:17 a.m., every light turned off at once, and the mirror in the hallway shattered. She found claw marks on the walls, inside her closet, under her bed. Deep, ragged lines like something had been waiting, scratching, counting. She reached out to a psychic she found online. Desperate, the woman on the phone only asked one question. "Has it spoken your name yet?" Claire said yes. The line went dead. She began to write down what she heard. Her journals filled with looping words, over and over. "Let me in. Let me in. Let me in." Sometimes her handwriting wasn't her own. She heard breathing behind her every time she turned on the tap. The black fluid returned, seeping up through the drain. Miso refused to eat. His eyes turned red. She found him hiding behind the fridge, hissing at her. On the 23rd day, she ran, screaming, barefoot, into the woods behind the house. A neighbor saw her and called police, but by the time they arrived, she was gone. No tracks, no phone, just a smear of blood on the doorknob. And Miso, waiting by the window. Claire was never seen again. But every few months, someone new comes to look at the house. It's cheap, it's quiet, too quiet. If they stay long enough, they say the walls breathe, that the mirror never stays clean, that at night, you can hear footsteps on the roof and a voice calling from the woods, soft as a lullaby. Sometimes, the voice says, "Help me." Other times it just says, "Run." And lately, there's been something new, a light in the attic. But there's no attic, just roof. Some say Claire is still inside, behind the walls. Some say it was never the house at all, but something she brought with her. Something that followed her from the place before. But no one stays longer than a month. No one keeps the lights off. And no one ever finds Miso when they move in. But sometimes they hear him, scratching at the window, meowing in the vents, and in the reflection of the dark TV screen, they see her, Claire, pale, hollow-eyed, smiling, and mouthing just one word, "Stay." Then the power goes out. The next morning, when the sun rises, the new owners find the furniture rearranged, the drawers emptied, the mirrors cracked. They say it feels like someone is watching, always from just out of sight. One couple found handprints on the ceiling, too far up to reach. Another said their baby began crying every night at 3:17 on the dot, staring at something none of them could see. They moved out after the baby started whispering to the air, calling it Auntie Claire. A real estate agent once stayed overnight to prove the house was fine. He lasted until 4 a.m. He walked out barefoot and silent, got in his car, and drove until he crashed into a tree 20 kilometers away. He survived, but he never spoke again. One day, the walls will be torn down. Someone will dig up the floors. They'll find something beneath them. Not bones, not blood, something worse. Something that shouldn't breathe, but does. Something that never left. And when they do, the house won't fight to keep them out. It'll invite them in, because the house is hungry, and it remembers everyone who ever tried to run. And this time, it won't let them leave at all.
There's a shadow in the hallway and a voice beneath the floor. I lock the doors, I hold my breath, but it's closer than before. A cold wind in the mirror, footsteps on the stairs. I feel it watching silently, but nothing's ever there. Past her whispers in